Star Wars Andor. Who's Andor again? Is it this guy? Maybe it's this guy. Or no, wait. It's definitely this guy. Nope, it's actually this guy, Cassian Andor. A semi-generic looking dude allied with the Alliance, just trying to find his way in the Star Wars galaxy. Dude who wasn't even the main character in Rogue One, more of a co-star. A guy that, let's be honest, is kind of forgettable. I saw Rogue One, and then I kind of totally forgot about it. I liked it, it was okay, but it never really stuck with me. And what stuck with me even less were the characters within that movie. With a blaster to my head, I couldn't name these guys. And I'd say I have a probably 50-50 shot at naming Cassian. That's why I was genuinely confused when Disney decided to make an entire series based on this guy. Not only is it based on him, it's named after him. Which is a ballsy move by Disney because Andor doesn't really have the same recognition as, let's say, Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. So why even make this show? Now, I've seen up to episode 6, which is almost halfway through the first season, and I still can't answer that question. But what I do know is that people should absolutely give Star Wars Andor a chance. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything about this show, but before we even get into the review, let's look at the Rotten Tomato scores because we know we can definitely trust Rotten Tomatoes. To be honest, I don't even pay attention to critic scores because they can easily be paid for and influenced by Disney. Disney can invite these losers to come to opening night, make them feel special for a little bit, and then kind of hold their opinion hostage, forcing them to give glowing reviews in fear of the mouse. I mean, look at what happened with Collider.
How'd you feel about that when he first pulls up?
I love Star Wars.
So let's just look at what normal people have to say, you know, everyday schmucks like myself. Now, Mandalorian was really well received, but the most recent shows, Book of Boba and Obi-Wan, have scored noticeably less with audiences. And surprisingly, a lot of people actually enjoy Andor. It's currently sitting at an 82% audience score, which truly surprised me. But when I watched Andor, I really understood why. Now let's get into it. I first want to hit on what people are criticizing about this show. It's not bad acting, it's not bad writing, it's not bad visuals, it's not eye-rolling, forced, corny dialogue like we see so much in Rings of Power. Nope, it's the slower pace of the show. So let's examine that. Star Wars Andor, at least for the first season, is essentially an origin story. It follows Cassian Andor and how he joins the rebellion. And in the second season, we'll get to see how he comes in the position that he is in Rogue One. The creator of the show, Tony Gilroy, explained as much before the show was released. If you're wondering who Tony Gilroy is, because so was I, he was the co-writer for Rogue One, and somehow he convinced Disney to make an entire show based on one of his characters.
How come all the Gilroys are so smart? My mom.
But basically what you get from season 1 is a slow burn, and I think that's a byproduct of it being partially an origin story. On one hand, I guess I could kind of understand why people are upset by this. Some people just want to see action constantly. I don't, and I have stated this before. And that really is a shame because I do like slow burns. I do like getting up to the point in like a slow, methodical fashion. So yes, I might be kind of biased because I do like shows that have slow burns, but the entire time we're given this slower paced story, it gives us a chance to breathe and really take in what's actually happening in the Star Wars universe. Not only for the events that we're seeing, but the people living within it. And that lends to the show allowing us to see a lot more interpersonal drama between the characters. You understand their backgrounds, why they're doing what they're doing, their motivations, where they are in the galaxy, and how they live in this universe. That's good character writing, and it's kind of hard to do in a smaller series like this. This show really spends a lot of time getting to know the characters, even the side characters within it, and it makes you care about them more. But I would say one of the most important things that the slower pace does is it gives us time to explore the Star Wars universe in a depth that we really haven't seen before. This is by far one of my favorite aspects of this show. We get to see what senators do, what corporate defense forces hired by the Empire do. We get to see planets with tribes on them, their people's customs, their culture, their rituals, their families. The show also highlights a lot of the Empire, what it's like working for the Empire behind a desk, what jobs people have within the Empire structure. And I absolutely love that. It makes the Star Wars universe a lot more interesting and seemed lived in. It makes it real. It is a purely unadulterated deep dive into the Star Wars universe, which we've been shown at a surface level for decades now. Think about this, when's the last time we got to see the Empire interacting with an indigenous people on a planet? When's the last time we actually get to see what happens in the Senate post-Republic era? And the Andor series even makes people within the Empire seem much more human. Kind of understand why they're with the Empire, why they're doing what they do, and why they hate the rebels, because think about it, someone who's just working for the Empire doing their day-to-day job. Rebels are kind of just terrorists to them. And when's the last time we saw someone get laid off by the Empire, have to go to one of their family members and try to find a job? That point might sound boring to you, but I loved it because we've really never seen anything like that. Like I said, for years we've seen a very surface level of the Star Wars universe, and for the most part it's mostly been the Jedi and the Alliance versus the Empire. There's not much past that. That's why I'm really glad that recent shows like Mandalorian have started to explore that more. But Star Wars Andor really goes above and beyond on exploring this side. I could go on and on about this, but I can only say so much without spoiling anything, which I don't want to do. Spoilers would definitely ruin the show because it is unpredictable in certain places. But in this exploration of the Star Wars universe and Andor's origin story, we get to see more of the Alliance and the Rebellion and the smaller missions that they do. Not just the bigger missions when we saw Luke Skywalker go to destroy the Death Star. We get to see the ground troops of the Rebellion, the people that are frankly in the shit. In doing this, it's certainly a darker look at the Rebellion. You understand how the Alliance came to be and why the people within the Rebellion do the things that they do and why they hate the Empire. And like I said, that aspect leads to a lot of darker moments in the show. There were a lot of moments that I thought, damn, that was pretty brutal. But I enjoyed that. I really do like the darker, grittier side of Star Wars. But even past all that stuff, at the surface level of the show, it's fantastic. And the casting is great, and the acting is, for the most part, for a lot of characters, is good too. There's actually this one character who sort of has a double life, and seeing him switch between those roles, it was fun. It just helped show off the cast. It helped showcase their talent. But characters are certainly nothing without good writing, and the writing of the show certainly adds to that. At no point do we get some horrible, forced, pseudo-intellectual, lofty dialogue like we get so much in the Rings of Power, and I had to hit on that again because I hate it so much. But the writing and the story of this show, even during the slower burn parts, does a fantastic job of keeping you entertained. It gives an overall tension or uneasiness while you're watching the show. And like I said before, it really dives into what's actually happening between the characters and their backgrounds, their histories, why they're doing the things that they do. You understand their personalities. And in that way, Star Wars Andor really explores the drama within the Star Wars universe. But it doesn't feel forced. It just feels like this show truly cares about the characters within it. So to point back to the criticisms, I just don't really agree that the show is slower paced or that it's boring. Because during all of this, there's a lot going on. There's a lot to take in. And frankly, again, I'm biased. I don't want constant action. Action is great, but when you're hit with it constantly, it kind of waters it down. The stakes aren't as high. The show isn't just action set piece after action set piece. We don't just see Andor join up with a group of rebels and then go do a mission and then come back and then rinse and repeat. Star Wars Andor has more of little build-ups which pay off in these big climaxes throughout each episode. And my favorite build-up and action sequence has to be episode 6. I'm not spoiling anything, but I think you're really going to enjoy that episode. And the action scenes are fantastic, don't get me wrong, and I could just say, oh, well, they're cool and they're shot well, but what's really more important and what makes these scenes so great is that this show explores the people on both sides. And in that way, it makes the Alliance and the Empire seem more human, and that makes the stakes that much higher. Overall, from what I've seen so far, and I don't want to sound like a fanboy because I am certainly not a Disney fanboy, I actually struggle to find something bad to say about this show. It really gave me everything I wanted in a Star Wars show that I didn't even know that I wanted. I love this show mostly because of how hard it embraces the Star Wars universe and takes concepts that we might have thought about before, but we actually get to see it put on screen. And even more than that, it embraces its story and characters with some more thoughtful writing that we certainly haven't seen in the sequel trilogy. Full disclosure, I was ready to dump all over this show. Just look right here. Andor is up next because I didn't even know that this was coming out, and I really want to see it because I love Star Wars, and I have a feeling that this won't be that good because who wanted an Andor series? I don't know who greenlit that. If I'm being honest with myself, it is much, much easier to make a video that dumps and makes fun of a show and criticizes it than it is to make a video about praising a show. And I think we could all agree that coming together to dump on a show, it's a lot of fun. And let me be clear, I have no problem doing that. I hate most of what Disney has done with Star Wars. But I could also put my hate for Disney aside and make a concession that Star Wars Andor is in fact a good show. And if I could reach out to the naysayers out there, I'd like to try to compel you. Give Star Wars Andor a chance. Whether you didn't want to watch it because it was a character I didn't care about, because trust me, I totally forgot about Cassian Andor, I didn't really care about him, or it's because you read reviews and heard people saying that the show is slow and boring. You look past that and just watch a few episodes. I would hope that you enjoy it as much as I do, because with Star Wars Andor, I was pleasantly surprised. So that's it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. By the way, I got a new chair. My old chair looked like it was from a crime scene. Seriously, it was pretty bad. And it was like literally destroying my back. But I was gone for a little while. I don't know if anyone noticed. I don't know if anyone cared. But yeah, I had a lot of stuff going on, a lot of family things, parties, things like that. So I'm back now. I'm going to try to make content more regularly. A couple videos that I have coming up. Actually, 3 videos. So the first one that I want to make is the review of Rings of Power, the finale. I haven't seen it yet. This is going to be painful. I said I was going to do this. I really don't want to, but I feel like I have to see it through to the end. And when I can get my friend to come on a call, we're going to do a discussion about The Hobbit. That's going to be another video. I'm almost done with that. Really enjoying that book way more than Rings of Power could ever entertain me. And I want to do a video on G4 TV because I thought it would be pretty interesting to go into what the hell happened with that. I used to watch Tech TV before it was G4 TV, and I have a lot of good memories with that. So I want to kind of do a little retrospective and then kind of examine what happened with G4. I think that'll be pretty fun. Love you guys. Thanks for subscribing, and peace out.